I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but I have some slight faith in Sonic Rangers. Now, bear in mind, this isn't like I'm just super duper hopeful and optimistic for Rangers. Absolutely not. It's far too early to say anything. I think it's best to properly reserve judgment until we see gameplay, most likely at E3. If you didn't watch my video from yesterday, go watch that. But all of the signs that we are getting so far, I'm not pessimistic towards the game. I'm actually slightly optimistic. And if we truly get to see the reveal at E3 and everything we've been hearing comes true and is executed right, this could be a very cool new direction for Sonic. However, like I said before, if we do not see this game at E3, I think my optimism would fade. I think that is when I would properly become pessimistic and I wouldn't be excited and I would be incredibly concerned. Considering that if they aren't ready to show their game after almost 4 years of silence, that ain't good. Not in the slightest. That comes across as incredibly worrying, but I do believe we're going to see it. So that is why I'm going to stay hopeful. But let's talk about why. Let's look at my reasons. They might not be the greatest reasons, but there's something there. There's more going for it than there is going against it, I think. Let's talk about it. So I mentioned this in the previous video, so I'm going to reiterate on the same point, but the production of the game started at around possibly late 2018 to early 2019, according to Izuka. At South by Southwest in 2019, Izuka stated that production had started. Now that might sound scary at first. Production might just sound, oh, that's the start of the game, but that's actually not the start of the game. That is the main development phase in the development cycle. That comes after the conceptualization phase, and it means that they've fully started work on the actual core game, the programming, the art assets, all of that. That's been started, if Izuka's words are to be believed and isn't a mistranslation, which I don't think it should be because he told us that in English, so that should be a direct quote. So this means they could have had a whole year from 2018 to 2019 to do the entire conceptualization phase. That's a decently long time to do so, but it's not too long as to distract from the main development phase itself, which is an issue I have a feeling Forces had. I don't know if we've got any proof of that, but I definitely believe Forces had 2 years of conceptualization at least, and less time on development, which led to a rushed game, as we all know. So with all that said, that means they've had at least the entirety of 2019, 2020, and 2021 so far to be working on the game itself, and that is a long development cycle, meaning they might actually be taking this seriously. And I know with Forces we said this last time, but this time, since they've actually stated they were doing production in 2019, I would be even more baffled if this came out as a rushed mess. Even if the game isn't the greatest thing ever, if it comes out as rushed, then there's a major issue with Sega and Sonic Team, and I guess they just won't be able to be trusted with having that much development time. Since we're still talking about development, there were focus tests that I think go as far back as June 2020. There was a leak from August, and I think they said they did a focus test a couple months ago. If not, then August 2020 is the earliest they did it, and that's good. That's actually pretty good. That means mid-development, they are getting focus groups and they are trying to decide whether the gameplay works, and if not, they can fix things. It's not as if they waited till last second or till the very end of the development phase to see if the game was broken, because that would mean they'd probably have to super duper just do really patchy changes and couldn't fix the overall core game. Whereas this time, they're actually doing it. They are properly doing it in the midst of development to make sure it's not too late before they carry on with the game itself, and making sure that the game just works design-wise and gameplay-wise. And I have a slight suspicion with Forces that this was skipped. That's total speculation on my end, but because Forces is so scripted, I don't know, I doubt that they did many focus tests for it. But the leaks also show just how ambitious this game is. And finally, after so long, we might actually be getting something new for the series. We've been stuck with these nostalgia games, this boost stuff. I've been begging at least. I've been begging for something new for Sonic. Like, say what you want, but I don't want Sonic to turn into a series that just constantly feels the same with every new release. I think a series that kind of has this issue, and I'm probably gonna get destroyed for this, is Ratchet and Clank. The games aren't bad, not at all, but to me they just feel far too safe with each entry, and the gameplay doesn't look like it truly evolves. Whereas with Sonic, you could argue it has the opposite issue where it changes gameplay up too much, but We've had the boost for how long? 10 years now. Lost World was a deviation. They could have went back on the Lost World formula, but they just didn't. But we've been mainly stuck with a boost, so something new honestly makes sense to me. And if they want to capture, like, they probably saw Sonic Mania, and like, people always praise the 2D physics engine. I'm sure, I'm confident they have to have been looking at that and being like, okay. I mean, we kind of did that with Adventure, didn't we? We kind of made 2D Sonic and 3D with Sonic Adventure. Why don't we just, you know, do it again? So let's hope that they are. Let's hope one of the reasons this game is open world is because they want it to feel natural to Sonic, and so that he can use his abilities and experiment in any way that the player wants. And lastly, Aaron's words on his whole quality over quantity thing. I did just make a video about that. You should check it out because I still stand by what I said. But this could legitimately be the thing he was talking about. It can't be Colors Ultimate. That looks rushed. The lighting doesn't look like it's properly optimized. Sonic Origins wasn't even ready to show. The only game that could possibly be left is Sonic Rangers, unless you've got this super big hidden game that they want to show us. And maybe they do, adventure games, 2D game, I don't know. But Rangers seems like it fits the bill of this game that's been taking so long, we've been waiting since 2017, and it's this big open world game? That sounds like it needs a lot of time. And that, to me, that would be the only way that the wait would be worth it, quote unquote, would be that if it is open world, because that requires so much testing and so much time to get right. Look at Breath of the Wild. That game took ages to make. Ages and ages and ages. Turned out like a masterpiece. It still has issues, but I think that's a goddamn masterpiece. And Nintendo's most ambitious game of all time. Could Sonic be the same? Or is it just going to rip off Breath of the Wild? And again, let me reiterate, I am not super excited, you know. I'll be excited once we see the game. But right now, I am feeling somewhat hopeful. I really hope I don't get burned out again, man. Sonic Forces, we all know the story. That game really sucked. That was not worth the wait at all. And that kind of destroyed my faith in Sonic. That destroyed my faith in Sonic for years. Up to this very point, I've not really had faith in Sonic. The movie has been the only shining beacon for me for Sonic because I thought it was very well made and it wasn't everyone's cup of tea. But I do not think it was a bad movie in the slightest, and I loved Sonic himself in the movie that I hope they're going to capitalize off in the sequel. So that's been the only light of hope. Mania obviously was great. We all know that. But I just don't like the nostalgia element of it, which is a massive element. And the cutesy nature of Sonic, I'm also not a big fan of, which that's something I'll need to explain in a future video. But overall, this sounds like something big, fresh, and new, and not safe, retro, and classic, you know? I've always wanted Sonic to try new things. I want to step towards the future and not run back to the past. So if this succeeds, that's going to tell Sega, oh shit, do ambitious things. Though they'll probably just take the route of, oh, people like open world, we're going to continue making open world. Which is something I hope wouldn't happen, is that they would just stick to the open world thing forever. Anyways, that's pretty much everything I've got to say. I really hope it turns out good. We're not going to be waiting too long for this, by the way, because E3 absolutely going to happen. Check out my last video on that. And if we don't see it, like I said, there is something severely wrong. So please, Sega, deliver the goods. I would appreciate it a lot. Hopefully this video ages well. And the reason I made this, by the way, is because, I don't know, I just want to see my thoughts change throughout the pre-release, that's what we call it, the pre-release process. I want to see how drastic this video is compared to the one I make after we get the gameplay. Will my hopes be the same? Will I be even more optimistic or not? And that's interesting. So that's why I'm making this video so early on. Hopefully it's not long until we find out. Anyways, I appreciate you all tuning in. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? Let me know. I appreciate you tuning in as always. And thank you for the support on my last few videos. I appreciate it a lot. Anyways, thank you all for watching, guys. And I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out, my dudes.